gym can sound like an intimidating place to go. It's busy, it costs money, and worst of all, I get strange looks when I make weird sounds. Though the list of gym phobias can go on, I decided it was best if I took my fitness into my own hands by getting set up to work out at home. And after months of workouts, I can finally answer the question, does training at home work? Is it effective? In this video, I'm going to do the best I can to answer that question by sharing with you my journey so far. When I started this journey, I was injured. I was 230 pounds, sometimes a little bit more, and I'd torn my meniscus and my ACL and my MCL a couple times in one knee. I wasn't exactly in a good place. I kind of had to change my habits in order to function like a normal human being. A huge part of my fitness journey was just kind of taking control of my body and kind of making it so that I didn't have to worry about hurting myself all the time. When I did start weight training, I was doing just like Chris Heria videos, really quick like body weight routines. They were awesome, and it's eventually you get to a point where you're very strong, and I wanted to go to more like a bodybuilding style. The workouts weren't tiring me as much, so I decided it was time to go more for the weights and kind of isolation movements to really target the muscles I was after. When I switched over to weight training, I didn't have a bench or anything like that. It was just me and some spin lock dumbbells on the floor or on the couch. My diet lacked protein, quite a bit of protein. I had no idea how much 200 grams a day of protein actually was. I had no idea how to get my daily intake of protein in. I also wasn't exercising consistently. When I started training, I had no idea about diet. So nutrition and training kind of go hand in hand. As I got onto YouTube and did some more research, I kind of learned about how much protein I should be having, gram of protein per pound of body weight kind of thing. And I started to pay a bit more attention to that, and that's when I started seeing real results from my training. Obviously, I had a bit of extra fat on me, so I could afford to not eat as much protein. So I started with just the basics, body weight exercises, really basic dumbbell movements, that max trainer, Bowflex max trainer, and it got me just hungry for more. Started seeing small changes in my body, and as you know, if you do work out, once you see those changes, it gets addictive. I invested in heavier weights. That's kind of when I started using progressive overload and kind of making more of a real workout system for myself. I got into an upper-lower split, so I was hitting my entire lower body. I can't remember. I was doing my entire lower body and I believe core on one day, and then I was doing upper body the next day, and I would just do one day on, one day off kind of thing. So I was hitting it 3 to 4 times a week, and it was pretty good. But as I grew my exercise selection and kind of found new exercises that worked for me and upped my volume, they started running on a little long. They were like 2 hours plus sometimes. At that point, I decided it was time to break it up a little bit more. I decided to go into a push-pull leg system. When it came to transitioning to the push-pull leg split, I actually have pretty much done the same exercises the entire time. My focus has been improve my form, progressive overload to a certain point, but really just building that mind-muscle connection has been the biggest sticking point of all of this, and why I haven't really pushed the weights up too fast. That's not to say that I'm not putting a full effort. I train to failure at least the last set of every movement I do. The exercise selection has pretty much stayed the same throughout the course of my fitness journey, but I'm not shy to rotate exercises in and out. If I'm not feeling something, I'll just change it for a different exercise, and sometimes just changing the exercise for a couple weeks, it's a new stimulus. I would react to it better, I would feel it better, and then eventually I maybe wouldn't feel it as much, and then I'd switch back to the other exercise. I have like a few exercises I keep on rotation, which now, you know, the workouts are still an hour and a half long, but I'm getting way more frequency, and I'm able to train 5-6 times a week roughly, depending on when I need a rest day. I absolutely will take a rest day when I need it, but it gives me the frequency I feel like I need to maximize muscle growth. At this point, when I did switch to a push-pull legs workout, I really dialed in my diet. I found a couple staple foods that really worked for me, and I just started sticking with them. So I allow myself quite a bit of flexibility with my diet, but I found having just a couple foods that I can always go back to, or that I keep as like a regular thing in my diet, it really helped me stay consistent. After working with that push-pull legs routine long enough, I kind of maxed out the weights I had. They were adjustable dumbbells that only went up to 52.5 pounds, and I found myself needing a little bit more. I was doing like 16, 20 plus reps per exercise. The workouts got so long because of how many reps I had to do to get an effective stimulus on certain body parts, mostly leg movements, hamstrings and stuff like that, Romanian deadlifts. 52.5 pounds wasn't enough, so I did eventually bite the bullet and got 90-pound adjustable dumbbells. There is a certain amount of stuff you can do, like pause reps, myo rep, drop sets, stuff like that can help you make the most out of the weight. But for me, I was doing so many reps to even feel tired that I decided it was time to go heavier weight. There are limitations to working out at home. Like if you're doing primarily a progressive overload type of workout, eventually you're gonna hit a limit where like you need more weight to make the exercise effective. Time-wise, you can definitely burn your body out, but it might take a long time if you don't have enough weight. Now, from where I am today versus where I was when I started, my weight has stayed the same. My body composition has changed a lot, but generally speaking, like my shape is kind of the same. Obviously, a lot of that weight that was in my midsection has now gone up to my shoulders and my chest and my back and as muscle. So I would say that's a pretty big accomplishment. I was never really looking to like get shredded or anything like that. So I'm pretty happy with the progress I've made at home. One of the key takeaways I've had from this journey is just staying consistent is very important, both in your diet and in your weightlifting regimen. So I found something that works for me. It feels good to me, so I just keep doing it. And sometimes I think I'm not seeing results, but when I look back at the pictures, I can tell I've made progress. So you just sometimes have to put in the time and trust that what you're doing is making a difference. Put your maximum effort into every workout and take pictures and look back and see, okay, like, yeah, I can see a month of progress here. I can see that although it's slow, changes are happening, and if you keep doing it month after month, you're gonna look a lot different. Another key takeaway is gonna be to find foods that you really enjoy. I'm gonna go over this in another video. For me, I can gain fat really easily. To stay on track, I kind of have a system where I'm eating more or less the same thing for more than half the day, every single day. And what that allows me is some flexibility in my diet, and also just I know what's going into my body when. It makes it really easy to stay on track with that diet. I don't need to change stuff every day. I don't need to get creative. I just stick to my staples, and then I get a bit of freedom in my diet when I do want it. You can't just eat right, or you can't just work out. It kind of all plays a role hand in hand, and you have to show up for yourself time and time again. It's not always easy. As important as consistency is, I would say also giving yourself a bit of leeway is important, because there will be times where you're just not going to be able to make it into the gym, or you're not going to be able to stick to your diet, but you know, holidays happen and stuff like that, and it's important to enjoy life at the same time. For most of us, we're not working out to compete, so we don't need to be as crazy about the consistency and the keeping everything dialed in all the time. Give yourself the freedom to enjoy it, and just remember, working out adds muscle, increases your base metabolic rate, and as a result, you're able to eat more and enjoy more of those foods, and you'll bounce back faster because of the time you put into working out and building that muscle. So over time you get more rewards out of the time you put in, so it's just worth sticking to it for the long haul because you're going to get more out of it in the end. Don't worry about the small details at first. You're going to be able to get away with a lot more when you're a newbie lifter. I'm technically a newbie lifter still. I'm under a year of training, so I kind of get to enjoy this where I can go eat pizza and McDonald's and all these foods that I probably shouldn't be eating, but I'm not at 8% body fat or anything like that. I'm not going to notice the change that much. And because of the changes in my body and the extra muscle, it's a lot easier to burn that caloric surplus off over the next week, and I can just be mindful of what I eat most of the time instead of all the time. There's no need to stress. Give yourself a break. If you're exercising, you're on the right path. Slowly improve your form and exercise selection over time. If you're on the right track, you're making net positives, you're heading in the right direction. In summary, training at home can be just as effective as training at the gym with the right setup, mindset, and nutrition. Fitness is a holistic concept and everything plays a role. Training at home has given me an opportunity to learn about myself, and I've seen good progress by staying consistent and keeping myself more or less on track. If you're interested in learning about the foods I ate to help keep me on track, watch this video next. It's going to be about the 8 foods that I eat to burn fat and gain muscle to give me results over the long term. That's it for me, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.